sort of a core engineering field, that if you're in mechanical, you would do something related to mechanical engineering. So it's a very nuanced field, which is very close to entrepreneurship. I'm sure a lot of you would come from entrepreneurship backgrounds, jinke pitaji, mother, father, they do businesses. So, but this session is, I want to keep it very engaging, very interactive. If you have questions in between, please feel free to raise hand. And I would ask you some things about from your side also. What did you take away from the session? And towards the end of a session, we'll do like a 15-20 minute kind of a Q&A where you can ask anything about the field. How do you enter into the field? And does it seem interesting to you? And then you can connect to me on LinkedIn also. I'm very active over there. So what I'll do quickly now is present my screen. And I need a nod from all of you guys if you can see my screen. Is my screen visible, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Cool. So the topic for today is product design. So I've just modified the topic a little bit. It's about how to make great products that users love and adore, right? Now, I think Radhika has given a great intro, but I'll still tell that I take care of building the learning platform on Byju's, in which you see multiple apps over there from the student side. And I currently work as a principal product manager for them. So just moving ahead. So before I start, I want all of you to know and understand that what is a product? Like, what do we call a product? Imagine going 25 years in the past or 50 years in the past. If somebody would have told you in a village, what's the mode of transportation? Aap log kya bolte? You would have said it's a bullock cart. It's probably some sort of a horse, right? What really happened around in the last 50 years, there was some guy who came, why don't we use technology to make a product which is effectively doing the same thing of transporting people from one place to another, but in a faster and a simplistic way. So somebody came up with the concept of a car and he built that car, and effectively people now sit in a car, and it is now it's something that you're fairly used to. Everyone has a car. So defining that in product terms, to define in simpler terms, the product is an experience or service which solves a user pain point and gives a 10x better experience related to the previous experience. Isko main mota tarike se samjhaun, if I want to put it in a very simplistic manner. Even a milk shop is kind of a product for you. Like, if you wake up early in the morning and you want milk, what do? You wake up early in the morning, you go to the milk shop, bolte bhaiya doodh de do. So he's solving a pain point for you. Right? Imagine if you have to solve the same pain point for 10 million people. Ya 1 crore logon ke liye karna hai. So how will you do it? So somebody built that startup called Milk Basket, which effectively you put your entry, you say that every day at 7 o'clock I want the milk, and they built a supply chain around it, and they effectively gave you the milk at the convenience of your house, and effectively you had all the like at a minimal cost, and effectively having fun and just enjoying the convenience of the experience. So to define in simpler terms, a great product is something which solves a user pain point and gives a 10x better experience in comparison to the previous experience you had. Another example that I want to put across to you is, I'd say 15-20 years back, if your father had to do a train ticket, what would he do? He would wake up early in the morning at 4 o'clock. He would go to the train station, effectively put up in a line, and in the end, ticket mile nahi mile, it was all his randomness. It was very randomness, and your father would have been very pissed off. He would come back and he wasted 3 hours on doing the same. In 2007, somebody thought that why don't we leverage the internet? And somebody came up with the concept of IRCTC, so that you can do the same booking in 15 minutes and the result is far more better. So that became an evolved experience, and that is what you call a product. Now, what is the difference between a typical problem-solving approach and a product-solving approach? The difference between them is that a problem-solving approach is typically not scalable. What I mean by that is, a dukan is also similar to a product for you, which solves the problem of kirana, buying rice, buying etc. for maybe 100 people. But whereas Amazon does that for 1 billion people. Right? So it is far more scalable. A dukan cannot cater to 10,000 people, right? So that is when a simple problem solving technique becomes a product. A product can scale vertically, right? With me guys till now? Cool, right? So the next thing is, what is a product manager, or what does a product manager do? right? It's a very new field. I'm sure most of you guys would have heard this somewhere, that there are roles called product managers. I want to get into this field. What is that? So product manager is someone who tries to solve, he consistently focuses on building that service which solves customer pain points in a 10x scalable way, in a far more scalable way. The difference between them is, and any other problem solver, is that most problem solvers don't look at scale. Like if your father does a business of a furniture, he would effectively solve it for maybe 100, 200, 500 people. But whereas a product manager, he looks at the same way, that if this is the solution, can it also happen for 50,000, 5 lakh, or 50 lakh people, right? So he always thinks of scale, solving a problem at scale. So that is what a product manager does. And that is why he's a critical thinker. He always thinks, okay, what if I have to do it for 10,000 people? Will my solution be able to solve for it? Right? So that's a new budding field that has come across in all of these, specifically in the IT industry. To give a very simple example, earlier what you used to do for communication, let's assume you used to send out maybe post, right? Somebody came up with the concept of an app, right? And right now WhatsApp sends out 5 billion messages a day, right? So that is what a product manager thought. So all of the apps that you use on your mobile phone are in some way designed or thought of by a PM, right? Another example that I want to put across to you is 20 years back or 10 years back, whenever you used to do computations, what did you used to do? You used to pick up a calculator, you would write, and if you have to add like 20 strings, right? Like 200 plus 200 plus 589, you would put each value and put an is equal to at the end of it. And if you messed up one of the value, the entire sum goes for a toss. Somebody in Microsoft thought, why don't I create a function for it? And in an Excel, you just put all the fields, put the sum function, and it does it for that, right? So that is what a PM thought and did it, right? And the last thing that is there is what is unique for great products, or what is unique to great product design that they succeed, right? So there are 3 core fundamental things. One, the first thing is that it should have significant differentiation. What I mean by significant differentiation is that the experience should be far more simpler and far more valuable, right? Let me put it this way. If you had to do a plane ticket, go back 10 years again. Your father would have to go to a travel agent. The travel agent will go to the government website. He would then say that I've tried to book a ticket for you, which will happen, which will not happen, right? But 7 years back, there was a website, somebody opened this website called Make My Trip or Clay Trip. And you just go there, put your from destination, put your to destination, and it gives you all the prices there. And in 2 clicks, you do a ticket, right? So this is the significant value-based differentiation. Another example of this is a very simple way. Again, 7-8 years back, if you had to book a taxi, right? You would go out. You would haggle with the auto driver. I want to go from this place to this. He would say, if demand ज़्यादा है, अगर demand ज़्यादा, sir, 500 रुपए देने पड़ेंगे 5 किलोमीटर के, right? Which is so bad, right? Or you would have to find him that is there an auto driver available? But somebody came up with the concept of Uber, right? Now you don't have to do any of that. You just open the app, click there, the price is standardized, and you get your Uber in 5 minutes. So it's significant differentiation in terms of the value that is created. The second is simplicity of usage. If something is difficult to do, everybody would lose interest. Let's assume you used Uber or Swiggy and they couldn't book your food or book your cab in 1 hour. Would you use it? You would not, right? So that is the simplicity of usage, that it should be very simple for someone to understand. And third and the most interesting point is the joy of usage in the process. Like an Android phone effectively does the same things that an Apple phone does. But the Apple UI and the Apple experience is so seamless that you enjoy the process of using that phone so much that you would never leave. You would see people switching from Android to Apple, but rarely you would see people switching from Apple to Android again, because the experience is so smooth. You enjoy the interactions, you enjoy, it seems like a game that you're playing. So if these 3 things are there in a product, then you build a great product, whether it's a car, whether it's a website, whether it's some hardware product, whatever you want to build. If everybody is with me till now, I want hands up in the chat, and just give me a hands up that if, just give me a yes, yes, yes in the chat. Cool, cool, cool. Amazing, guys. Amazing, amazing. Very nice. So moving ahead, right? So how do you start thinking of building a product, right? At a very top level, I want to tell to you, right? So whenever you think of building a product, you think of 5 steps, right? The first step is कि यार demand है, कि जनता आएगी. Am I building something like, let's assume you build maybe in some way, maybe you build some sort of a app for giving baby food, right? Giving baby food, right? Now this app is there, but so if you have built this app, then there should be enough demand for that app so that people are effectively coming and buying from there. So that comes the first part, that you have to vet the demand is there or not. That comes from the acquisition part. Like if people come to you and say, yeah, there is actually a problem, if you would be able to solve it, that is the acquisition part. So the first thing that you see whenever a product is launched, a company tries to put across ads on the internet. You'll see on Facebook, you'll see it on Instagram, you'll see billboards around it. If a new, जैसे अगर एक नया mall भी खुलता है, so how do they figure out that there's a demand for the mall? They would put up a billboard in Chandigarh. They would put across something like a new mall has opened with all these showrooms, and you would see that there is an actual demand. The second step comes as activation. Now, let's assume a lot of people come to your app, but they don't do what you intend them to do. Like Swiggy पे जाके अगर तुम खाना नहीं बुक करोगे, तो उससे कोई फायदा तो होने वाला नहीं है, right? So the second step is that whether they are actually using my service for some value, which is the activation part. Like if you book your first order on Swiggy, they know this guy now knows that this is the value of my product, that I am an app which can help him book food at whatever time he wants. The third step is retention. Now you got that seamless value. अब तुम्हें समझ में आ गया यार कि 30 मिनट में खाना आ जाता है, तो तुम क्या करोगे बार बार? You would repeat that process, right? You would say यार अगली बार भी मुझे खाना चाहिए, I don't like the mess food today, let me order something. Said let me order chicken. So what you would do, you would open Swiggy and you would order it, and you keep repeating that action. Similar like Facebook. Like if you make 4 friends, you would see, oh, 10 of my friends are already there. So you would start clicking on more and more friends of yours. And this action is called retention, which means the user is getting more and more value with every action that you take on the app. The fourth and fifth part is kind of parallel. It's not necessarily in that order. It is like if you get enough value, right? Like let me put it this way. You already pay like 100 rupees or 150 rupees extra whenever you book a ticket on Cleartrip. On Indigo, you will find it 200 rupees less. But you pay 200 rupees extra because the experience is that great that you would say 200 रुपए extra दे दूंगा यार, लेकिन इतनी दिक्कत तो नहीं होगी ना यार, आराम से टिकट हो जाएगी. It is very easy for me to do, right? So you start making money. And the fifth part is, any of your friend comes and he says, yaar, meri ticket hi nahi ho rahi yaar, these ticket booking platforms are just bad. I cannot be able to do it. So the fifth part is, you would say, yaar, tu Cleartrip pe kyun nahi gaya? Why don't you check out Cleartrip? It's an amazing app. Why don't you go there? So it builds referral. So it's a loop. More and more, you acquire more people, they do an action, they repeat that action, they pay you money for that action, and then they refer you because the value is that good that they would say, why don't you use it? Now referral creates more word of mouth. So in simpler words, post a user is acquired, we try to activate that user. कि हम बाइजू की वेबसाइट पे कोई बंदा आया, मैं उनको बोलूंगा यार आप एक फ्री ट्रायल ले लो. तुम ट्यूशन में जाते थे तो क्या बोल, ट्यूशन वाले टीचर क्या बोलता था, पहले तुम ये ट्रायल क्लास है यार तुम्हारी, तुम्हें अच्छी लगी, then you pay money for it, right? Then you repeat it. Like if you really enjoyed that tuition class for a year, मैं बोलूंगा यार मैं इस सर के साथ अगले साल भी पढ़ूंगा. So you repeat that action. Then if somebody asks you यार तुम मैथ्स किससे पढ़ते हो, तो you would say यार मैं तो अश्विनी सर से पढ़ता हूँ या तो मैं श्रवण सर से पढ़ता हूँ. Then you would say यार बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हैं, why don't you also come? So this is a complete repetition of the funnel through which a great product goes through. Understood with me, guys? Again, give me a yes. Yes, cool. Moving ahead, right? अगला क्वेश्चन यार ये होता है कि what does a great product?
Sir, one question.
Yes.
सर अगर हम एक मॉल पहले से ही बना देंगे तो उसका अगर बाद में डिमांड नहीं हुई तो हमें कैसे पता चल, मतलब हमने बना तो दिया, हमने इन्वेस्ट तो कर दिया सर, पर अब तो अगर डिमांड बाद में अगर है ही नहीं तो फिर बनाने में सर पैसा तो वेस्ट हो गया ना? नहीं,
ऐसा नहीं होता. उसके लिए एक पीओसी किया जाता है. जरूरी नहीं होता कि यू केटर टू द एंटायर थिंग. लाइक लेट मी पुट इट दिस वे. सोचो तुम एक बिल्डर हो और एक बिल्डर को अगर अपना बिल्डिंग को बेचना है, उसमें फ्लैट्स बेचने, वो क्या करता है? वो एक सैंपल फ्लैट बनाता है, करेक्ट? और एक सैंपल फ्लैट को देखता है कि सैंपल फ्लैट में दिखाऊंगा किसी को and eventually that person goes and looks into the sample flat, sees, oh, this is the kind of flat that is going to be in the building, and then he makes a booking. So it's not necessarily about the mall. What I was trying to put across to you is, whenever there is a mall that opens, they put a sample picture of the mall, that this is how it's going to look like. And they figure out that it's at the right area. They do a lot of preliminary research. You're absolutely right. I would not invest in the product before I figure out that there is a demand. What I was trying to put across to you is that eventually you have to do some sort of a proof of concept. After that, you get it, and then you eventually try to scale the product. Proof of concept can be anything smaller. It can be any small thing that you want to do. So Manvinder, you're actually right. So we do a small POC. I was going to come to that. Yeah. So the next thing, अच्छा product क्या होता है यार, right? ठीक है. What is a great product what does a great product focus on? The first thing is they focus on the core user value to the pain point a user has. Like for Flipkart, I am a Kashmiri, right? And if I wanted to buy a Kashmiri embroidery from some shop in my city, मुझे क्या करना पड़ता था? मुझे पूरा सिटी को घूमना, चंडीगढ़ में घूमना पड़ेगा या दिल्ली में घूमना पड़ेगा और फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा यार कहाँ पे है ये कश्मीरी एम्ब्रॉयडरी, एंड मे बी आई गेट इट द राइट मतलब एक्चुअल क्वालिटी एम्ब्रॉयडरी और मे बी आई डोंट, राइट? बट व्हाट फ्लिपकार्ट, व्हाट हैपेंड, you just go there, you write Kashmiri embroidery, it shows you a list of, you click on one and it gets delivered to your house. So the experience is amazing, which I told you, right? The core value is like the same thing which used to take you 24 hours to do or maybe 2 days to do, now happens in 10 minutes. So that's the core value. So that's why you would go to an e-commerce website, whereas you would not do the same experience. The second part is the simplicity of experience. Now किसी भी e-commerce website पे अगर assume करो कि products सामने नहीं दिख रहे होते, if the products would have not been visible upfront, right, you would have to figure out how do I find this. So that's why they make the experience so simple that there's a search bar on the top. So if you're not able to find the product on the home page, you just put it there, like I want this, right? So it's so simple to use that you don't need a learning curve. It's as simple as anything. Like if you buy an iPhone, how much time does it take you to even install those apps and do all of, and you are like 21st generation, oh yaar, you take 15 minutes probably to set up all the apps, all the Google accounts, all the Instagram accounts, all the Snapchat accounts, whatever you use. So it takes you 15 odd minutes to eventually learn what the iPhone does, at least 80% of what the iPhone does, right? And the third part is the element of joy while using the product, right? Like most apps are focused on utilitarian value. What I mean by utilitarian value होती है कि यार Uber तुम तभी लेते हो जब तुम्हें किसी टैक्सी चाहिए होती है, right? लेकिन जो अच्छे प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं ना, वो इस तरह भी काम करते हैं कि उस ऐप में ही इतनी वैल्यू है कि तुम्हें मजा आता है प्रोसेस में ही. What I mean by that is a lot of people go to Amazon not because they want to buy stuff, they really want to search for good stuff. So it also is fun to eventually use the product in itself. There's a very nice product for language learning which is called Duolingo, and तुम्हें इतना मजा आएगा ना उसको खेलने में, तुम्हें लगेगा वो गेम है, and you will enjoy playing it, and eventually at the back end of it you will learn language. So ये तीन चीजें अगर किसी भी अच्छे प्रोडक्ट में हो तो वो एक अच्छा प्रोडक्ट बनेगा ही बनेगा. जैसे मैं एक और एग्जांपल देता हूं related to your college life. A lot of people of you might be in mechanical engineering and you might be planning to design a car. The first is core pain point. Like typical car क्या करती है कि यार तुम्हारे पास manual gears हैं, ABS नहीं है, etc. ये सारी चीजें नहीं है. But if you take a very great car, right, and if in an economical range like 8 से 10 लाख की range में, if it gives you automatic gears, right, ABS is already there, right? So your core pain points are taken care of. It has a very good sound system, right? The second thing is the simplicity of experience, right? Because it's manual, it's automatic gearing. You just have to use it, right? Maybe there is a cruise mode, right? So it's very simple to use. And the third is you really have fun while driving the car. Like if it has Google Maps already installed, you really enjoy the entire experience of driving in a car because it gives you that amount of satisfaction that I'm actually enjoying the experience. So that great car sells, like a car like Honda City sells. But whereas if for 10 lakhs you don't get these three experience, you would probably not buy that car, right? So ये तीन चीजें बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं, ये बहुत फंडामेंटल होती हैं एक अच्छे प्रोडक्ट को बनाने के लिए. ठीक है, तो I'll move forward, right? अब हम आगे चलते हैं. अब coming to Manvendra's question, how do we start off for building a great product, right? So बहुत सिंपल सी केस स्टडी करते हैं यार. Let's assume Swiggy wanted to build this single order multiple restaurant booking system. Swiggy में आप लोगों ने देखा होगा यार कि अगर तुम्हें एक आइसक्रीम लेनी है और बिरयानी लेनी है, can you book it in the same order? You cannot do that, right? You effectively have to do two orders. एक अलग बंदा आता है, एक दूसरा बंदा आता है. You cannot book it via two restaurants, right? But अगर तुम्हें ये problem solve करनी है, and you, because that is a very logical problem. Whenever you go to a party, you want 5 things, right? So what do? You think of some sort of a POC. POC का क्या मतलब होता है कि पहले सबसे पहले तुम ये figure out करते हो कि यार कि कहीं ना कहीं इस चीज की डिमांड है क्या, इस चीज क्या ये चीज सच में जनता को चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए. So what people do is you will go out of your circle of influence. Circle of influence का क्या मतलब होता है कि अगर किसी को पता है कि तुम ये बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो तो वो तुम्हें biased feedback देगा. Like अगर तेरा ही दोस्त है, किसी या मेरा ही कोई दोस्त है, right? मैं उससे पूछूंगा यार ये बना लूं, वो बोलेगा हाँ भाई बहुत सही है, बना ले, इसी को बना ले. You should make it, right? So you move out of your circle of influence and try to get feedback from outside. Maybe you go to some friend of yours in second year, which definitely doesn't know कि तुम क्या बना रहे हो, or maybe in fourth year, like कि तुम क्या बना रहे हो, and you tell him कि यार कि अगर कुछ ऐसा होता ना यार कि if I could have ordered 5 different things from a single place, I would have done it. Would that make sense to you? And if you get a very positive feedback, then you effectively know हाँ यार demand तो है. Then what you do is you build some sort of a POC. POC का क्या मतलब होता है कि maybe the best way to do is कि यार क्या अगर तुम्हें ऐप भी नहीं बनाना, एक ऑपरेशनल पीओसी, तुमने एक बंदे को हायर कर लिया, वो बंदा तुम्हारे लिए कर लेगा. जैसे दुकानदार होता, बोलता सर आपको 5 चीजें चाहिए, मेरा बंदा आगे डिलीवर कर देगा, राइट? तो तुम वो पीओसी करते हो, प्रूफ, इसे बोलते हैं प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट, विच इज वेरी चीप. इसके लिए तुम्हें कोई डेवलपमेंट, कोई कुछ नहीं करना. तुम्हें सिर्फ ये देखना है कि अगर ऐसी कोई सर्विस एग्जिस्ट करती होती तो जनता क्या उसको लेती कि नहीं लेती, राइट? देन यू डिफाइन योर मेजरमेंट मेट्रिक्स कि यार ओके, हाउ मेनी पीपल आर टेकिंग दिस, how are they giving 50 rupees more for this service, right? And you see that whether it's something that people would pay for, right? Then the next thing is, if you have really done that proof of concept and you figure out there is a demand, people are willing to pay for it, maybe you define it via an app. You build an app because apps are used all over the place. And then in terms of user value, कि इसमें सबसे ज्यादा valuable क्या था, लोगों को चाहिए कि एक ही जगह से multiple चीजें मिले. Okay. Second चीज क्या हो कि अगर किसी बंदे की ये value भी हो सकती कि नहीं यार मुझे एक ही रेस्टोरेंट से 5 चीजें चाहिए लेकिन मुझे 30 मिनट के अंदर चाहिए. So that's the second thing that they want. So you prioritize the features that you build in that app based on user value कि यूजर को क्या चाहिए. सबसे ऊपर सबसे ज्यादा वैल्यू वाला, फिर उसके बाद कम, उसके बाद कम, उसके बाद कम, and you keep on prioritizing them. Then you keep testing, repeating it, because ऐसा कभी नहीं हो सकता कि तुमने पहली बार बनाया, you built it for the first time and everybody is happy. It doesn't really happen that way, right? So you keep on iterating, you keep taking feedback. What can I add more? What can I add more? Till you achieve a concept which is called product market fit. Product market fit का basically मतलब होता है when there is a demand in the market and your product really solves it in a very sustainable manner, right? So product market fit is also known is the degree to which a product satisfies a strong market demand. यहाँ तक am I clear, guys? Any questions till now? Do you have any questions? You can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Can I know your name first?
So my name is Shivam Malhotra.
Hey Shivam, go ahead.
Hi, sir. So, sir, you mentioned the example of Duolingo and how it has a really nice interface. So it makes kind of language learning like a game. I actually use Duolingo on the every day. But what I've felt and what other language learners have felt is that Duolingo doesn't actually help you learn the language. Matlab, if you start from scratch, it is impossible for you to learn language from the said app. So don't you think that it kind of counterintuitive, and it has a really good interface, I agree, and it's kind of like playing a game, but does not actually fulfill its function.
But why do you say that? Like, why? What's the actual logic behind that? Why do you say that?
I'll give an example. So I have taken 3 years of French from 6th to 8th grade, right? So I had a solid base, because of which I could improve my language through Duolingo. But if you do not have such a base, it is almost impossible for you to learn that, because Duolingo throws a lot of vocabulary and a lot of things unsaid and just gives you that without explaining them. So you cannot actually learn.
Got it. It really depends on what the TG is. Like, you have already 3 years of French, understood. But it also depends on how you derive value from the product. Like, let me put it this way: if you want to learn guitar, right, and if you have 3 years of experience for learning guitar, so it becomes fairly easy for you to learn guitar and go to another app and probably you use Musician and you do it, right? But it also depends on the life cycle of the user, right? Learning doesn't necessarily mean that you do it in one session, that you should take away something from one session. It also depends on a lot of consistency of the sessions. Like, अगर तुम बाइजू का प्रोडक्ट लोगे, ऐसा थोड़ी ना है कि मैं तुम 2 क्लासेस करोगे और तुम्हें मैकेनिक्स आ जाएगा. It really doesn't work that way, right? You have to invest that amount of time. So the reason that I would have come to that part, like a lot of improvements in product analytics go in that side, that what is the tipping point where people actually start learning, right? Like for Facebook, the VP of growth in Facebook, which was Chamath Parapatalia, he said that for the tipping point for most of the users are when they make 7 friends in 3 days. Like, if you make 7 friends in 3 days, then typically what will happen is your network is that strong that you would not want to leave it. Let me give another example to you. Let's assume you are a very good French speaker and you make an Instagram page and you have 5,000 followers, right? Would you be able to leave Instagram? No, because the network effect, it gives you fame, it gives you opportunities, right? It gives you all of those things, right? But what if you only have 50 followers? You can leave it tomorrow. It doesn't add any value, right? So the point that I'm trying to put across to you is, yes, there might be certain set of users which might be significant, who have not done 7 lessons or 8 lessons or 10 lessons, which is their tipping point, which the company might have figured out, right? And before that tipping point, they drop off. That happens with every product, right? That happens with any product that you specifically use. Like if Uber in a certain area, you try to book it 3 times and you are not able to book a cab. You not take Uber. You would say, I would talk to my father and get some taxi drive service, and I would call him at any point of time and he would come. But whereas if you are able to book those 3 cabs seamlessly in a particular area, you would use Uber again and again. So you have asked a very pertinent question. So every product achieves its product market fit when there is a tipping point. That tipping point has to cross, right? If that tipping point doesn't cross, you have not acquired enough value in the product. That means you have not activated yourself. So it's a very interesting question that you asked. Like in Flipkart, why do people only track add to carts? Because add to cart is an activation metric. Like, this guy is now interested in buying this product. Whereas if you just sign up with Flipkart, तुम sign up कर लो खाली, उनसे उनको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता यार. तुम sign up कर लो, उनसे उनको क्या मिला? They don't know what you wanted to buy. Their core value is for you to buy something, right? So they don't know anything for you to buy. So that's why they always push you. यार ये discount मिल रहा है तुम्हें यार, इसको add to cart कर लो, इसको add to cart कर लो. क्योंकि then I know Shivam really wants these kind of products and I can personalize his feed based on that, and eventually I will move him towards conversion, right? So that is where product managers come in and we try to put insertions there कि यार मैं इसको और enjoyable कैसे बनाऊंगा, मैं ऐसा क्या करूं कि मैं उसको tipping point की तरफ move करने की कोशिश करूं. So that's the answer to your question.
That difference between actually users and customers is the tipping point.
Yes. Not necessarily customers, but you would say that it's that point when users effectively start getting value and say, yes, now it's valuable for me. Like, let me give you another example. Agar meats nahi hota abhi, right? Now you're using meats all the time, right? So it's giving you enough value. Even after Corona ends, now you're acclimatized to the value of meats. तुम use करते रहोगे because they have moved you to the tipping point, right? Because of whatsoever reason. It can be any reason, like Corona happened or whatever happened, but that tipping point has now accrued, right? So that is where every PM who wants to design a product wants to find out that what is that one value that I can figure out that people start using my product again and again. It's that service, right? So that's the functional answer to your question. Yeah.
Makes sense, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Moving ahead. Yes. So what I wanted to do is do a very small case study with you in terms of education, right? So let's assume, keep it very interactive. We wanted to build something for education, like for you college students, right? Education as a vertical is growing very fast because of access and also due to Corona, right? So अगर ये बनाना होता तो कैसे बनाते यार, मतलब क्या करना होता, मतलब इसके अंदर, like how would you have pulled off? सबसे पहले ना, whenever you look at a product, the first thing that you start looking at is what's the size of the market. मैं जिनके लिए बना रहा हूं ना यार, इसमें वैल्यू तो है, क्योंकि ये प्रोजेक्ट नहीं है. Like a project is something which you can do for 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, right? When does a project become a product? It really becomes a product when it can happen at scale. So scale पे कब हो सकता है? जब problem भी scale पे हो, right? Like Uber started as a concept because they knew that the transportation industry is so fragmented and it's so decentralized, right? That there is no standardization, there is no availability, there is no supply, complete direct supply, there is no correlation there. So if I have to build, if I can build availability and price at a standardized manner, then I would be able to disrupt the transportation industry at scale. तो सबसे पहले तुम ना वर्टिकल देखते हो कि यार कितना बड़ा साइज है. लाइक एक बहुत बड़ी इंडस्ट्री जो अभी बनी है वो है अपस्किलिंग इंडस्ट्री. Like lot of people want to learn coding because there's so much demand. लेकिन क्या है कि यार ये इंडस्ट्री इतनी फ्रैगमेंटेड है, सबको तो नहीं आती, right? So a lot of startups have come up, like Coursera is there, Upgrad is there, so many startups. So they first looked at this market, like there is huge demand, but there is not enough supply, right? Enough supply of quality of education. So यार मैं इसको solve करने की कोशिश करूंगा. So for you also, it is the same thing. Then once you have looked at the market, कि हाँ ये market तो बहुत बड़ा है यार, इसके अंदर तो problem है, then you identify the core problems in that. Like K-12 में क्या हो सकता है? K-12 कौन सा segment होता है? फर्स्ट क्लास से 12वीं कक्षा तक का सेगमेंट. आई होप एवरीवन इज कंफर्टेबल विद हिंदी. आई एम श्योर लाइक आई क्विक कीप स्विचिंग टू हिंदी इन बिटवीन टू कीप इट फेयरली इंटरेक्टिव. किसी को कोई लोड हो तो बता देना यार, ठीक है? चलो यार, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, ठीक है. सो देन, so what you do is you effectively try to look at the core sets of the problem. Like K-12 के अंदर सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है कि बच्चों को इसलिए पढ़ाया जाता है कि यार अगर तुम पढ़ोगे नहीं यार IIT कैसे जाओगे, या इधर कैसे जाओगे यार, तुम्हारा ये नहीं निकलेगा, तुम्हारा जीवन बर्बाद हो जाएगा. तो दे क्रिएट फोमो, फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट, राइट? बट प्रैक्टिकली लर्निंग इज फन पे किसी ने सॉल्व ही नहीं किया. इसीलिए बच्चों पे जब वो 10th क्लास पे पहुंचते तो बहुत स्ट्रेस आ जाता है. बिफोर 10th एवरीबडी इज चिल, ओके माय सन इज डूइंग दिस, माय डॉटर इज डूइंग दिस, फेयर इनफ, ही डिडंट गेट गुड ग्रेड्स, दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली फाइन, नो इश्यूज. बट 11th 12th में नहीं बेटा पढ़ना है, तुम्हें पढ़ना है, क्योंकि इसके बाद तुम्हारा जीवन बन जाएगा. बट व्हाट इफ वी हैड सॉल्व्ड इट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग इटसेल्फ एंड मेड लर्निंग इज फन एंड एवरीबडी वांटेड टू रियली स्टडी इन 11th and 12th class because they liked mathematics or they liked science or they liked arts for that matter, right? So the core problem is that it might be understanding, it might be writing skills, it might be retention of knowledge, it can be anything. So you look at the core problems. Then what you do is you can create a small solution of that problem and share it outside your circle of influence, and then you gain feedback and start working, which I will explain in the next steps, right? तो सबसे पहले मार्केट देखो, मार्केट के अंदर कोर प्रॉब्लम्स देखो, प्रॉब्लम्स के क्रॉस छोटा सा सोल्यूशन बनाओ, सोल्यूशन को अपने सर्कल ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंस से बाहर निकल के पूछो और फिर फीडबैक लो और बैक ट्रैक करते रहो और आगे चलते रहो. अब इसका एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल करते हैं. लेट्स अज्यूम, स्टार्ट ऑफ विद अ वेरी सिंपल प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, ठीक है? अब इसके अंदर हम क्या करेंगे, मैं तुम्हें बिफोर आई मूव इनटू अ प्रॉब्लम, let me give you some logical steps to look at it, right? So when you have a simple problem which you have identified after the market, you look at the simplest possible way to solve the same. Manvendra, this is your what you wanted to say. You look at the simplest possible way. It might not be scalable at all, but it is just a kind of essence of your demand. कि हाँ यार demand तो है. Like building a model for testing your hypothesis. Like if you want to test if a website offering notes to engineering students makes sense, what do you do? Like आज की डेट में क्या होता है, मेरे टाइम पे तो ऐसा होता था कि यार सब लोगों को इंजीनियरिंग के लिए like we used to go to our seniors, we used to ask for notes, right? और वही notes बार बार यूज करते रहते थे या फिर अपने किसी टॉपर के पास चले गए, बोला यार कि भाई बता दे यार, तू नोट्स दे दे, राइट? सो यार ये, और फिर जिसको नोट्स नहीं मिलते थे वो लास्ट मोमेंट पे तो उसका पेपर अच्छा नहीं होता था. तो डेफिनेटली ये तो होता ही था सबके साथ, राइट? मेरे साथ तो यही होता था. आई एम श्योर आपके साथ भी यही होता होगा. तो यार किसी एक बंदे ने सोचा यार कि ऐसा क्यों है यार कि व्हाई कांट देयर बी जस्ट वन सोल्यूशन देयर, राइट? व्हाई कांट देयर बी जस्ट वन वेबसाइट जहां ये सारे नोट्स एक्सेसिबली मिल जाए मेरे को, राइट? अब इसके लिए your students, like I am sure your parents would not give you a lot of pocket money for sure, right? So assuming that you don't get a lot of pocket money, building a website is like you have to take a domain, you have to hire a developer, or probably you have to code it yourself, you have to invest a lot of time. A simple way to do it is कि यार मैंने क्या किया, थोड़ी मेहनत की, पुराने कुछ नोट्स के PDF बना लिए और उसको एक WhatsApp ग्रुप बना लिया और शेयर कर दिया, ठीक है? और कहा कि अगर यार ये जो नोट्स की जो ये ड्राइव है ना जो मैंने बनाई है, राइट, अगर किसी को अच्छा लगता है तो शेयर इट अक्रॉस टू अदर पीपल, जस्ट लेट मी नो कि कितने के साथ शेयर किए, राइट? सो व्हाट हैपेंस एट दैट पॉइंट, इफ यू सी people are sharing the link organically and lot of people are asking, यार तुमने जो ड्राइव बनाई थी यार मेरे साथ भी शेयर कर दे, यार मेरे साथ भी शेयर कर दे. Then you realize that you have a demand for it. You have a functional demand for it. Then if you have a demand, what do? You create a very quick mock of your website. कि हाँ एक mock website बना लेता हूँ and ask for feedback again. और अगर 70% लोग तुम्हें बोलते हैं ना हाँ यार मजा आ गया, यार यहाँ से तो notes बड़ी easily मिल गए यार, then it does add value. So तुमने एक hypothesis बनाया, hypothesis को टेस्ट करने के लिए क्या किया, एक Google Drive बनाई, Google Drive में सारे पुराने notes डाल दिए, बोला यार ये लिंक है, भेज दो भाई, जहां जहां करना है करो. जनता से पूछा यार कितनी जनता के साथ शेयर हुआ है, अगर ये पूरी तुम्हारी क्लास के साथ शेयर हो गया तो डेफिनेटली डिमांड है. और अगर डिमांड है तो उसके बाद फिर एक छोटा सा तुमने मॉकअप बना लिया, मॉकअप बनाने के बाद सबको दिखा दिया एंड यू पुट इट अक्रॉस. एंड इफ 70% पीपल और 7 out of your 10 फ्रेंड्स से यार इट रियली एडेड वैल्यू, बिकॉज लास्ट टाइम पे यार मेरे पास नोट्स ही नहीं थे, अब मेरे पास पिछले 10 साल के नोट्स पड़े हैं, सो इट रियली एडेड वैल्यू, देन डेफिनेटली दिस प्रोडक्ट मेक सेंस. करेक्ट? एनी क्वेश्चन टिल नाउ गाइस? अभी तक कोई क्वेश्चन है? पूछ लो यार.
Sir, I want to ask one thing.
Sure.
Like you said, we have already shared our product with the people at a free cost and at availability. So when we put some price to that very product, do people buy that? And when we have already devalued that by sharing it for free, like if we have shared it for past 10 years, will that be effective that if we share the 11-year notes next year?
Yes, I'll tell you why. The reason is that initially it was from a POC standpoint. जब Uber शुरू हुआ था तो पहली राइड तो तुम्हारी फ्री थी, ठीक ही नहीं, right? But do you pay for Uber right now or not? Right? So
Yes, we pay.
So the simple thing here is that whenever you do a POC में तुम्हें सिर्फ ये जज करना होता है कि यार क्या मेरे पास सच में डिमांड है. अगर मेरे पास डिमांड है, उसके बाद तुम क्या करोगे, तुम खाली 10 साल के नोट्स ही नहीं रखोगे ना, तुम उस वैल्यू उस प्रोडक्ट को इंप्रूव करने की कोशिश करोगे. अब मैं नोट्स के साथ तुम्हें सॉल्यूशंस भी देना शुरू कर देता हूं. मैं सॉल्यूशंस के साथ तुम्हें प्रोबेबली एक्सपेरिमेंट कैसे करने वो भी देना शुरू कर देता हूं, और उनमें प्रीमियम सर्विसेज बिल्ड करना शुरू करोगे. सो इट विल बिल्ड लाइक एन इंजीनियरिंग वेबसाइट फॉर यू, लाइक द वन स्टॉप शॉप फॉर इंजीनियरिंग, राइट? और यू माइट से कि अर्लियर में सारे नोट्स फ्री दे रहा था, 10 साल के तो फ्री हैं, लेकिन अब क्या करूंगा, आगे वाले नोट्स अगर तुम्हें चाहिए तो प्रीमियम सब्सक्रिप्शन पे आ जाओ. और अगर उनको 10 साल के नोट्स उतने वैल्यूएबल लगे तो then the user what will he do यार, कि obviously it helped me improve my marks, so why would I not pay 50 rupees for getting 2 more notes which can actually help me improve my marks more, right? So it really moves to the point that सबसे पहले यूजर को वैल्यू दिखनी चाहिए कि हाँ यार मैं जो बना रहा हूं ना इससे मुझे कुछ तो फायदा हुआ. अब उस फायदे को तुम्हें कैसे बढ़ाना है वो तुम्हें देखना है कि बेसिकली व्हाट शुड आई डू. लाइक लेट मी पुट इट अनदर वे. More often than not, whenever you used to go to a like airline booking website, सबसे ज्यादा दिक्कत क्या होती थी, जब तुम कैंसिल करते थे पैसे कितने वापस आते हैं? 20% भी नहीं आते. अगर तुम 10,000 की टिकट की होगी 2,000 रुपए वापस आते हैं, राइट? What did these guys do? They said कि तुम 800 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा दे दो, we will insure your ticket. होता है आज की नहीं होता? It happens, right? And people pay more often than not pay for it. अब कैंसिलेशंस कितनी होती हैं? 5%, 8%, तो वो पैसा बन गया. इट्स अ बिजनेस मॉडल, इट्स अ बिजनेस मॉडल, राइट? सो दैट इज वेयर यू मूव टुवर्ड्स. लेकिन वो तुम पीओसी के टाइम पे नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि पीओसी के टाइम पे अगर तुम उसको, अनलेस द प्रोडक्ट हैज सो मच डिमांड, लाइक एस्ट्रोलॉजी ऐसा प्रोडक्ट है ना कि तुम पीओसी के बिना भी पैसे ही कमा लोगे, उसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. इट इज समथिंग एवरीबॉडी वुड पे फॉर, ठीक है? सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू डू. सो द नेक्स्ट थिंग व्हाट यू डू इज, once you have gotten the demand, you define the user actions, right? कि यार अब तुम चाहते क्या हो यूजर से. you have made that website. The first thing that you want to see is that कि हाँ यार मैंने ये बना लिया और मैंने डिमांड भी फिगर आउट कर ली, तो the first intended action for me is कि यूजर्स को नोट्स दिखने चाहिए, ठीक है? फिर चाहिए यूजर्स उन नोट्स को डाउनलोड कर सके और फिर उन नोट्स पे फीडबैक दे सके. अब ये 3 एक्शन है, क्योंकि इन तीनों एक्शन तुम्हारे लिए बहुत क्रिटिकल है. कि अगर जनता तुम्हारी वेबसाइट पे आ रही है और नोट्स देख ही नहीं रही तो वो भी तुम्हारा इंटेंडेड एक्शन नहीं है. शिवम, दिस इज योर आंसर, द सेम आंसर दैट आई वाज सेइंग, एक्टिवेशन स्टेप. ठीक है, कि अगर तूने एक वेबसाइट बनाई इंजीनियरिंग वाली और उसमें वहां पे तूने नोट्स डाल दिए और जनता आ रही है और नोट्स देख ही नहीं रही तो कोई वैल्यू ही नहीं है, छोड़ दिया प्रोडक्ट वहीं पे. सेकेंड थिंग इज कि अब तुमने बोला यार कि नोट्स तो है लेकिन आई वांट टू डाउनलोड दोज नोट्स, तो कितनी जनता डाउनलोड कर रही है, तो डाउनलोड किया. एंड द थर्ड थिंग इज हाउ मेनी पीपल वांट टू गिव फीडबैक ऑन दैट दोस नोट्स. दीज एक्शंस आर इंटेंडेड. the step, the word here is intended. फ्लिपकार्ट पे कोई आके साइन अप करता है, वो एक इंटेंडेड एक्शन नहीं है. इंटेंडेड एक्शंस होते हैं कि जो मैं करवाना चाहता हूं उनसे, कि हाँ यार मेरी वेबसाइट पे आके जनता ये करे, तब मुझे पता चलेगा कि जनता को वैल्यू मिल रही है. सो यू डिफाइन मेट्रिक्स इन प्लेस. अब तुम्हें कैसे पता चलेगा यार कि जनता वो कर रही है, तो उन सबको मेजर करने के लिए तुम्हारे पास मेट्रिक्स होने चाहिए. मेट्रिक का क्या मतलब होता है? इट्स अ मैथमेटिकल वे टू मेजर कि वेदर दैट इंटेंडेड एक्शन इज हैपनिंग. वन ऑफ द सिंपलेस्ट वे टू डू इट इज लाइक, इनके लिए अगर मुझे पहले एक्शन के लिए देखना है, नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स हु डाउनलोड डिवाइडेड बाय नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स हु व्यूड द नोट्स, तो मुझे पता लग जाएगा कि यार कि 70% ऑफ द ऑडियंस इज डूइंग एक्शन 2. सिमिलरली अगर एक्शन 3 देखना, नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स हु गेव फीडबैक डिवाइडेड बाय नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स हु व्यूड, तो मेरे को थर्ड स्टेप के लिए भी मिल गया. ये सेम एक दुकानदार की तरह होता है. वो क्या करता है? बोलता है यार मैंने 100 रुपए की चीज खरीदी, 120 में बेची, तो मेरा क्या इंटेंडेड, मेरा मेट्रिक क्या है कि मैंने 20 रुपए प्रॉफिट कमाया. सिंपल सी बात है, प्रोडक्ट में भी हम यही करते हैं. हम क्या करते हैं? इंटेंडेड एक्शंस के लिए कुछ मेजरमेंट क्राइटेरिया बनाते हैं, क्योंकि इन द एंड लाइक यू सेड अबाउट डुओलिंगो, इफ यू प्लेस अ क्वालिटेटिव ओपिनियन, वो तेरे लिए अलग हो सकता है, मेरे लिए अलग हो सकता है, राइट? तू बोल सकता है यार मुझे मजा आया, आई रियली लाइक्ड इट. I might say no yaar, I didn't like it, right? But if I put across a metric there, like out of 100 people, 80 people said yes, I liked it, and 20 people said no, I didn't like it, then I would say nahi yaar, I am right and you're wrong, right? So you define metrics in place, right? This happens with every product. So metrics allow you to measure the success of the product and check out any vanity solutions you have in mind, right? So you got the metrics, प्रॉब्लम भी मिल गया, तुमने पीओसी भी बना लिया. अब तुम्हें क्या करना है? अब यू बिल्ड अ मॉडल टू इंप्रूव दोज मेट्रिक्स, बिकॉज जरूरी नहीं होगा ऐसा कि यू मेड द फर्स्ट वेबसाइट एंड एवरीबडी इज डूइंग दैट. सो इफ यू वांट टू इंप्रूव योर फर्स्ट मेट्रिक, लाइक यू वांट टू सी दैट एवरीबडी इज व्यूइंग माय नोट्स, देन द सिंपलेस्ट वे टू डू इट इज कि यार तुम ये पता करो यार कि ज्यादातर जनता कहां से देखती है. You might use a tool for it and say कि okay, most of the people see the website from a mobile, so then you improve the experience on mobile, you create a mobile website. Then you might say that okay, how do I make people discover my website? Then you function on SEO. SEO is something called search engine optimization, कि Google में results कैसे आएंगे. थर्ड थिंग हो गया, अगर किसी बंदे को डाउनलोड करने हैं नोट्स, तो तू ये you can think of this very functional way that you say that my second metric can be improved by a download button on the home page. Or my second metric can be improved by a banner on the homepage, that you can put a banner there, it's written download notes, you click there and somebody will be able to download those notes. So once you have defined your first version, then you keep defining a feature set based on the metrics and user value and keep on iterating. It's a process. You keep doing it till you achieve the same thing that I said is product market fit, that 70% of your users eventually say yes, I would want to pay for your product. Yes, whatever the cost is, I would want to use your product again and again. So you keep doing it. That is what a product manager does, and that is how any company does product design. They first design a car, then they keep redesigning it, then they keep improving it till a point, then it becomes a mass viral thing, right? So that is something that you do. Last is test till you achieve product market fit. So in a nutshell, product management is the art of finding solutions to core user points in a scalable way. The method is simple. Identify the problem you can relate to, do a small POC, identify the metrics which can be measured, test, repeat till you achieve product market fit. This way, you are not only solving user problems, but also solving ecosystem problems, because the difference is that you do that at scale. यहाँ पे तुम सिर्फ 10 लोगों के लिए नहीं कर रहे, यहाँ तुम 1 लाख लोगों के लिए कर रहे हो. And finally, what makes people happy is the 3 core aspects that I told: value, simplicity and joy. ये 3 चीजें अगर तुम्हारे प्रोडक्ट के अंदर है और तुमने इस मेथड को फॉलो किया, you will come up with a very great product. And once again, thank you very much, guys. I think I'm done and I'm open to questions now.
Hello.
Yep.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for the session.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm also product manager in Yeh PM, to be precise.
Got it.
Currently, I'm an intern at Peak Performer.
Got it.
It's been 3 months and there are still 2 more months to go in my intern.
Yeah.
Thing is, what I have realized in product management is it's actually a hard field to get into. Like through what I got this intern, I realized that you actually need a lot of experience to get into this. That's why I could not land in a great company. Like there are multiple companies, but I could not get the big companies. So thing is, after my intern is over, I still have an year left in college.
Got it.
I'm actually confused, like what should I continue doing for my next year, so that when it ends, I do have a great chance at landing a product manager job in a good company.
Understood.
Yeah.
Sure. Though, I'll give you my background to you guys. Do you know which engineering I've done? Just take a wild guess. तुम्हारे कॉलेज में भी वो इंजीनियरिंग है. I've done metallurgy.
Metallurgy, yeah.
Yes. तो मैंने मेटलर्जी की है. ठीक है. तो मेटलर्जी का तो प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. अग्रीड. ठीक है. ना मैं कंप्यूटर साइंस का ग्रेजुएट था कि मेरे को कोडिंग आती है कि उन्होंने मुझे प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर ले लिया. राइट. So what did I do? Right? It's a very common question. देखो यार, फंडा सिंपल होता है. प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर्स होते क्या हैं? They are problem solvers. Right? But they do it at scale. That's what I repeated again and again. The only difference between a normal halwai, which is selling you mithaiyan, or a haldiram, is that it is doing it at scale, right? So you solve problems at scale. So सबसे simple तरीका पता क्या होता है? आज की डेट में तुम कैसे अप्लाई करते हो? You make your resume, right? You put across your resume कि सर मैंने ये प्रोजेक्ट किया है, मैंने ये किया है, मैंने ये किया है. But honestly tell me this, out of 1,000 resumes that go for a position, कितने resume पढ़े जाते हैं? It's not even 1%, it's not even 2%, right? तो यानी कि वहां तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. और तुम्हारे साथ साथ एक आईआईटी बॉम्बे का लड़का भी होगा, एक आईआईटी दिल्ली का लड़का भी होगा. तो सब लोग खेलते हैं ब्रांड पे कि हाँ यार मेरा ब्रांड अच्छा है तो मुझे मौका मिल जाएगा. Why are you playing there? If you are a product manager and you want to solve that problem, why are you playing there? So the best thing that I identified, how I went into PM roles, right? Like in 6 years, I just got promoted as director of product in Byju's, right? So 6 साल में मैंने 6 कंपनियां बदली हैं. अब वो कैसे किया? सबसे सिंपल तरीका मैंने क्या रियलाइज किया, मैंने बोला यार इफ दिस इज द वे, व्हाई एम आई प्लेइंग ऑन ब्रांड? उधर तो मैं जीत ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि मेरे ऊपर भी एक आईआईटी दिल्ली का लौंडा होगा जो कंप्यूटर साइंस पढ़ रहा होगा, तो वो तो मेरे को कभी नहीं लेंगे. तो मैं एक्यूमेन पे खेलता हूँ. एक्यूमेन पे कैसे खेला? मान लो अब मेरे को स्विगी में अप्लाई करना है एंड आई वांट टू बिकम एन एपीएम देयर, राइट? व्हाट आई डिड इज आई रिसर्च्ड द कंपनी, आई फिगर्ड आउट दैट दे हैव दिस वन प्रॉब्लम, right? And while I was applying with my resume, I put across an PRD for solving that problem without them even asking for it. And sent it across, right? अब what happened there? अब उसमें क्या हुआ? उसमें 2 चीजें हुई. एक चीज ये हुआ कि बंदे ने देखा यार कि इतने सारे रेज्यूमेज में एक बंदे ने 2 फाइल भेजी है यार, दूसरी क्या चीज भेजी है इसने. उसने खोल के देखा, उसने क्या देखा, अरे यार इस बंदे ने तो प्रॉब्लम ही सॉल्व कर दी और मैंने तो बोला भी नहीं था इसको. तो उससे पता क्या चला कि ही इज रियली पैशनेट. दैट्स द फर्स्ट थिंग. एक्यूमेन बाद में आता है. सबसे पहले समझ में आया कि यह बंदा मेहनती है, मेहनत करेगा, right? First thing came into account. The second thing what happened is now he knows how Nitish thinks. Because resume में यार तुम एक लाइन लिखते हो, I was the convener of this fest. उससे क्या पता चलता है यार? मतलब ठीक है, you were a convener of a certain fest, but what did you understand from that? But now if you've solved a problem, he functionally knows this is how he thinks, right? So I have an inside view of your mind, right? So what will happen at that point? Why does a company want a guy who is coming from a stellar background, or they want a guy who can lead their company to success? The second part, right? वो तुझे more often than not your success percentage will grow drastically, right? अगर तुझे आज 10 में से एक जगह से कॉल आता है, it will automatically go to 5. The second thing it will do for you is that it will create a portfolio for you. You keep doing that exercise, like logically think. Any of the people who are in your college who are computer science grads, they create a GitHub profile. क्यों बनाते हैं? उनको दिखाना है ना यार कि मैंने ये प्रोजेक्ट किया है, राइट? डिजाइनर्स डिजाइन पोर्टफोलियो क्यों बनाते हैं कि यार मैं डिजाइन अच्छा करता हूं. प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर प्रोडक्ट पोर्टफोलियो क्यों नहीं बनाते? Does it not make sense, right? So you keep doing that thing into account. क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट इज अ गेम ऑफ क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, राइट? इट्स नॉट लाइक अ टैंजिबल स्किल कि जहां पे तू जाके डिजाइन बना के दिखा देगा, बोलेगा यार ये डिजाइनर है, राइट? इट्स अबाउट हाउ यू थिंक, राइट? सो यू क्रिएट दैट प्रोडक्ट पोर्टफोलियो एंड कीप अप्लाइंग देयर. So that is the art of critical thinking. उससे क्या होगा? In 6 months, if you keep doing it again and again, it's like gym. पहले 15 दिन बहुत दर्द होगी यार कि मैं क्या लिख रहा हूँ, मुझे खुद भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा. I am writing something random, right? But you keep doing it, you'll automatically start filtering out information and you will keep improving because you will get feedback. कई जगहों से rejection तब भी आएगा, लेकिन वो बंदा तब भी इतना तो सिंपैथेटिक होगा कि बंदे ने मेहनत की, 15 पेजों का एक डॉक्यूमेंट भेजा, राइट? अब मेरे उसको फीडबैक तो दे दूं, उस फीडबैक को रिसेप्टिवली लेगा. So that is the first thing. The second skill that you should do getting into a PM job is start something, this concept that I call, which is called constraint writing. What I mean by constraint writing is, let's assume I ask Rishabh or probably I ask Radhika, यार मुझे अपनी स्टोरी सुनाओ यार, पिछले 5 साल में क्या किया तुमने. What do you do? You can write 5,000 words. 5,000 वर्ड लिखने लग जाओगे कि मैं जब फर्स्ट ईयर में था तो मुझे पता चला, पापा ने ये बोला था, तो ये कॉलेज अच्छा होगा मेरे लिए, यहाँ पे मेरा जीवन बदल जाएगा. फिर मैं फर्स्ट ईयर में मैंने ये कोर्स किया, आई डिडंट लाइक दैट कोर्स. नाउ इफ आई आस्क यू अ वेरी डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन, गिव मी योर जर्नी इन 50 वर्ड्स, व्हाट विल यू डू देन? Then you have to eliminate all of that information from your head, and you only have to put the right things there which makes sense to the other person, right? मैं LinkedIn पे क्यों लिखता हूँ? I am not sure how many of you people know that I write avidly on LinkedIn, right? But why I write is, the external reason is branding, that people know and they take out कि हाँ यार ये बंदा तो अच्छा है यार, इस बंदे को बुलाते हैं, इससे बात करते हैं, ठीक है? वो एक external reason है. Internal reason क्या है 1300 कैरेक्टर. 1300 कैरेक्टर्स में ही मुझे अपना थॉट बताना है. 1300 कैरेक्टर, और यानी कि what I will have to do is, let's assume you have to write something on probably building a certain product, right? You can write thousands of words on it, right? You can write something about cred and you can keep 2,000 words, but you have to put it in 1,300 characters. So to automatically start filtration. So first thing that happened with you is art of critical thinking. Say you thought about the solution. Second thing builds art of prioritization. So whenever you send out that solution to someone, you'll only put those points which are very relevant for the business. So this thing will tell him that this guy is a very good prioritizer also. So whenever you go into an interview, when you would have done it for 6 months, 7 months, your mindset will start working like that. So when somebody will ask you the question, more often than not in an interview, you have 10 ideas and you are unable to structure it. Right? होता है ना, इंटरव्यू में जाते हो तो स्ट्रक्चर नहीं कर पाते कि सर मैं तो ये बोलना ही नहीं चाहता था, मैं कुछ और ही बोलना चाहता था, I was about to say something else. But if you keep doing this exercise, before even saying something, 8 things will automatically leave your mind and you'll speak only those 2 things which make sense, right? And the third and the best thing is, which if you want to become a great PM, is imbibe a sense of access. Anybody should be able to tell you that what he really feels about you. So there is something which I tell everyone to keep away from, which is something called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias होते हैं 12वीं कक्षा में बोलते हैं बेटा IIT जाओगे तुम 1 करोड़ की तनख्वाह ले लोगे. ये है confirmation bias कि 100 लोग अगर एक बात बोलेंगे वो सच है, वो सच नहीं होती, ऐसी कोई जरूरी बात नहीं है. या तुम्हारी मम्मी बोल देती है बेटा ये पहन लो इससे तुम्हारा गुस्सा ठंडा हो जाएगा, तो ऐसा नहीं होता है, ठीक है? सो आर्ट ऑफ फीडबैक इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट होता है क्योंकि for a PM you have to look at the world very objectively. Am I looking at the world for what it is, right? And that can only happen when you have less ego in yourself, and the best way to develop that is imbibe humor, right? अगर मैं अभी यहाँ पे आता, मैं बोलता यार मैं तो डायरेक्टर ऑफ प्रोडक्ट हूँ यार, मैं तो भाई ऐसे बात करूंगा कि जैसे बहुत बड़ा आदमी हूँ मैं, ठीक है? You would have not been enjoying the session, right? But I talk to you like I'm like probably your senior somewhere down the line, right? So I was talking, so you were open to me, you could ask questions to me, you loved the session. I am hoping at least you loved the session. So that is there. So that is the third part. ये तीनों चीजें ना क्या करती हैं? It improves you as a thinker. And once you improve as a thinker, you automatically become a great PM. So next time after your 5 months, start creating a portfolio, put efforts, start writing, do constraint writing, put it across on LinkedIn, because और LinkedIn का एक और फायदा पता क्या है? I'll give you another example. हमेशा ना तुम जॉब्स के पीछे जाते हो, तुम क्या करते हो? तुम बोलते हो यार मेरा स्किल सेट ये है, मैं अप्लाई कर देता हूँ यहाँ पे, ठीक है? I do this, right? But what you should do is, if you put your opinions there, a lot of people will read it, right? A lot of people will read it. अगले दिन क्या होगा? उनके दिमाग में होगा यार कि यार एक प्रोडक्ट बनाना है यार, एक लड़का था यार, एक नितिश करके, जिसकी पोस्ट बहुत चल गई थी यार, उसने तो बहुत अच्छा ओपिनियन दिया था, लेट मी रीच आउट टू हिम. सो इट विल क्रिएट एन इनबाउंड फॉर यू. नाउ यू डोंट गो फॉर opportunities come to you.
Yeah.
So at that point, whatever the market is, however recession it is, you have proved your acumen to be the differentiator. So that is where you win victories. So effectively become a better thinker in life. If you become a better thinker in life, automatically anything that you do will fall into place. I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot.
हाँ यार पूछो यार, और अभी हमारे पास टाइम है. I know it's 6 o'clock, but let's move for 10 more minutes. If any more questions anyone has, please.
Yes, sir. There was one question in the chat before by Hardik. He asked that even after a POC and preemptive study before the launch, there is still a chance for the product to fall into the valley of death when we try to scale it. So, like, how do we go about avoiding it as a person who manages the entire assembly for the product?
It's the same thing, Hardik. Whenever you do a POC, it's effectively a hypothesis. Hypotheses all the time don't necessarily be true. So what you do is you consistently take feedback. That's why I said the art of feedback is very, very critical. Whenever you design something, you have to take feedback consistently again from the same user who is your target segment, right? कि तुमने लड्डू बनाए, लड्डू खिलाए किसी को, पूछोगे ना उससे कि अच्छे लगे नहीं लगे. अगर वो बोलेगा अच्छे लगे तो तब तुम बोलोगे और अच्छे कैसे बना सकता हूँ. So that is the same thing. You consistently keep doing it, or you should be Elon Musk for that matter. कि तुम एक ही बार कर लो, you can become successful that way. So this is a consistent effort that you keep doing. That's why great products are built over time. It's not like great products are a one-shot success. That doesn't happen. You don't become Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli in a day. You have to play consistently again and again. That's the only way you do it. And you will fail multiple times. But the one thing that I want all of you to know, what is passion? Passion basically means when you enjoy the process more than the outcome, right? If you like problem solving, like if you like cooking, right? Do you do cooking for like because your friend would say that it was great, यार बहुत अच्छा खाना बनाया, या तुम्हें अच्छा लगता है cooking करना? मतलब once you like that process itself, then anything that you receive is a feedback. But if you're tied to the outcome, right? कि यार मुझे तो जनता बोले कि ये अच्छा खाना बनाया, तब तुम्हारा दिल टूट जाता है क्योंकि तुम उस आउटकम से टाइड थे. You were never loving the process itself, right? So you have to love the process. The people who love coding now, they like the process of solving problems through coding, right? It's not about they wrote a great code which got implemented somewhere. That's just an outcome, right? So that's where you have to reach. So from where would we develop our marketing and product management skills? Whether it should be from books. I just gave you an answer, Chirag. Pick any problem, try to solve it, build your portfolio, and you can look at books. Books and other things are just hedges. They can help you structure your thinking a little bit, but it's just by your effort. So just pick problems, pick some projects, whichever you feel like, and try to experiment with them. Yeah, you spend like 2-3 हजार रुपए तो यार तुम मैगी इसी में खरीद लेते हो यार. उससे अच्छा है $10 $15 की वेबसाइट बन जाती है, उसमें कुछ अच्छा कर लो और उसमें कुछ बना लो and try to experiment with it. Then you will learn a lot of it. And books चाहिए, I will tell you, there is a very nice book called Decode and Conquer, which will help you, by Louis C. Lin, which is a good way to start with product management. You can start doing that. Sir, if you want to create a product, let's say a mobile phone, how can we identify it's in demand or not? Or how can we take those surveys? The best way to do it is, yaar, dekho, if you want to, let's assume you want to create a mobile phone, right? There are multiple ways to generate that feedback. One way is you actually go to forums where you see in a certain range what are the things that people present. Go to Amazon, look at what are the reviews of a certain phone. You will see that these features are not there. Then you go to consumer complaints forum. Then you can probably run ads. Maybe take 2,000 rupees, run an ad on FB and see that this is my target audience and what do they say about that phone, right? So feedback can be taken from a lot of places, or you can go to the target set by yourself. If by your way, your target set is students between 18 to 25, talk to your friends. Just tell them very openly that this is what I'm trying to build. These are the things there. Would you really like it? Would you not like it, right? But what types of projects can be done for building a good PM portfolio? It can be anything. Like, let me quickly show you my portfolio. Give me a second. It can be anything. Like I had to create a Flipkart premium app. So what I did is I created a PRD for them. a PRD is called a product requirement document, like something like why build Flipkart Premium, what are the goals, what is the need from different angles, right? Who is the target market? Then post that, what will be the features, how will you build them across, right? And then probably you also create some sort of mocks for them. How does the product look? Like how will it look like? What are the different things that will be there in the product? And it can be anything. I built it just myself. Like I wanted to see that can something like Amazon Prime, and Flipkart eventually launched that product, Flipkart Plus. By the way, I did it like 4.5 years back, long back, right? Then if you want to do something else, like I did something for Ixigo, I also created a task management app called Victra. To-do apps were the thing long back. Why will you create a task management app? Why would you build it? So these are the kind of PM portfolios. It typically has the mocks. It typically has the PRD that you write. And then if I did an assignment for Google, right? So I was doing something for Google. I eventually did that. How do you build a tuition product offering? And I eventually built the entire product specs for them, that what will you build? How is the product scope and its scope, the product hypothesis? How do you put across those things? So for understanding the PM portfolio, I'm always available on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me. I would be able to give you more guidance over there. I think this is not enough time for you to understand that what are the things should be there, but definitely I'll help you there. Yeah. And I will just quickly put my LinkedIn profile also so that you guys can reach out to me. There you go, guys. Yeah. Any other question, guys?
Yes, Hardik has asked that to get into a PM as a novice, how do we go about finding and solving problems, or more likely think to develop the mindset for the same?
I just gave you the example, Hardik. I think you can start with Decode and Conquer, and you can start doing some projects of your own. There are a lot of projects there. They're out in the internet, and or probably you can look at any fundamental company that you like what can be the next big thing for Google, right? And if you want to improve Google search, how will you improve Google search? Just start working on it. And whenever you apply to a company, you see that if you want to apply to Swiggy, what value can you add to Swiggy? What can be the next product that they can build? Always stay curious, right? One of the best ways to identify problems is being very compassionate, right? Tum dekhte raho. Let me give you one very simple example. Let's assume somebody in your family or somebody as a friend of yours faces a critical ailment and God forbid something happens. What will happen? तुम्हारे दिल में क्या आएगा? काश यार अगर कुछ ऐसा होता जो इसको help कर देता, right? And that builds that amount of curiosity, and you get to know कि हाँ यार ऐसी चीज तो बनाई जा सकती है. So what will you do at that point of time? You'll just pick up that problem. और एक बहुत ही simple example, तुम्हारी अपनी society में pets होते होंगे. A lot of people trample over pets. Can you make a solution for that? Can you do something around it, right? That's how you think. You just pick up a problem which really affects you, which is close to your heart. Start solving it and put up a design for it, put up some solution for it. That's how you create a portfolio, right?
Excuse me, sir. So as you just mentioned about the pets thing and like that, I think for most of us, we do see these kind of problems and think that, that can be a way to solve it. But how do we put that in stone? How do we actually present to the employer that we have thought about such problems and we can solve them? That, because if we think about such solutions that is in our mind, how do we actually, make it a bit practical and presentable?
That is where you write a PRD. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I was talking about. Like a PRD, like some sort of a design or mock that this is something that I want to make across. This is my mindset. And then you also put the pros and cons of the solution that you've thought about. क्या इसके pro ये हो सकते हैं, con ये हो सकते हैं. The typical structure of a PRD पता क्या होता है? कि the typical structure in a very nutshell, I would say, this is the scale of the problem. In some way, maybe by competitive research on the internet, that this is the scale of the problem. These are the core problem areas that I see. Like कि एक है कि people trampling over pets. तो उसका एक metric हो सकता है number of pet accidents happening in a year, right? That can be one metric around it. फिर उनमें से निकाल के फिर तुमने बोला यार कि okay, what can be the solution for it? The solution for it is कि if every society puts up a fennel space, or maybe I put some sort of a mobile containers, or probably I become an OYO for pets. Put a store space, try to modify it, right? And so that pets are going there and there is enough feed there, and I charge a small fee for it, right? Then you put up a business model on top of it, and then you do something like that. So, and then it's very scalable, right? You just have to go there, build an OYO for pets, take some money for it, take a commission out of it, and pets are saved, and your solution is also there. It's very scalable. Somebody wants to do it, you build a mobile app, and then reach out to the audience through internet. If you want to take care of pets, why don't I, like MyGate, collaborate with societies? Go there. And this is the model that I want to effectively follow. Then they can say there are pros to it, there are cons to it. Not every solution will be perfect, right? But this will give them an approach. Ki, ye soch aise raha hai banda. This is how he's thinking, right? So that is what you have to do. Yeah. Anyways, guys, it was very fun talking to all of you. I think I really enjoyed the session. मुझे बहुत मजा आया. I hope you also did.
Yes,
guys.
sir. Thank you so much for the insightful session, and I'm sure everyone here has learned something new today.
Cool, guys. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm available there. And best of all, Nitish, do well.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All of you guys, do well. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thanks, sir. Bye-bye.